spending your time with us today. My name is Kathy Young, and I'm the Director of University Relations for the American Heart Association, and I lead our National Internship Program. And we are excited to chat with you today so that you can learn a little bit about our organization and about the American Heart Association. I'm going to be joined later by some panelists, as well as Heather, who you see, who is our awesome recruiter. And they'll all be sharing tips and tricks of how to get the most out of the internship at the American Heart Association. And so, as if you have questions, please use the Q&A feature that's there. That's the best way to submit questions. I would hold off on that. We're going to be providing a lot of information. And so, maybe wait just a little bit on those questions because we are going to be answering quite a bit throughout the presentation. But to kick us off here, just want to share a little bit about who the American Heart Association is. So at the American Heart Association, we believe that everyone deserves an opportunity for longer, healthier lives. And for 100 years, it's been our mission to fulfill that vision. So working alongside global family of volunteers, donors, and advocates, we are transforming the way the world understands, treats, and prevents cardiovascular diseases and strokes. Excuse me. With bold hearts, we now forge ahead into our second century, fueling science and innovation, funding life-saving research, and boldly standing for the rights of patients and caregivers to empower healthier communities and transcend the way we live, work, and play. One bold example is that we have set a goal of doubling the survival rate of cardiovascular arrest by 2030. To reach this goal, we're building a nation of lifesavers that prepares and empowers bystanders to become a vital link in the chain of survival and provide CPR. We're making healthcare smarter and more accessible because we're committed to advancing health and hope for everyone, everywhere. And because our future is about improving yours, I know many people that would love to make a difference when they go to work. And well, we do. At the American Heart Association, our interns save lives. Doesn't matter what your role is, whether it's accounting or fundraising, public health, you are saving lives. We hear it all the time from survivors. They would not have survived without the American Heart Association and its research. So it takes all of us to make this bold vision a reality. If that sounds exciting to you, then after this presentation, you just might want to apply for one of our internships. We're guided by our values. What you see on the screen here, these are our guiding values, and this helps us stay focused on our work and make sure that we're moving our mission forward in the right way. My favorite of the guiding values is meeting people where they are. I think it's really an important thing that we do and something we do well to make sure that our message is really crafted, not just for one set of ears to hear it, but we try to show up where people need that message, whether that's at pride events or in the barbershop, whether that's translating science into various languages. We want to make sure that we are joining the community where they're at rather than forcing them to come to us. And I think that that's a really important thing for us to focus on. But you can see the other guiding values up there. Type in the chat if there's one that is a favorite for you. Go ahead and just pop that into chat. Love to see what some of the favorites are of our guiding values. Meeting people where they are. I see some people enjoying bringing science to life, inspiring passionate commitment. Love that. All right, good. So we've got a lot of diversity in what people are excited about. Awesome. Again, this is what is guiding our values, guiding our mission forward. And so let me talk to you a little bit now about what the internship program is like at the American Heart Association. So first off, a lot of people think that you have to be a doctor or a nurse or something to work at the American Heart Association. That's not the case. In fact, we don't really hire doctors or nurses specifically for care, or anything like that. What we do is looking at science and research. We do have that lane, but we also have fundraisers, and we have business operations, so things like marketing, communication, human resources, our tech team, our what we call BT, our business technology team, finance. Then we have our fundraising group, and so the folks that are out in the field running our community events, working on getting grants, or even providing grants to researchers that are coming in. So we have a whole grant management division, corporate relations team that's helping to have our message supported by different companies and how we can engage them. You might have seen some of that this month, since it's our American Heart Association month, Heart Month, and so we're doing a lot. There's been a lot out in the community. You might have seen some ads and things like that. Then we have community health and advocacy is a big part of our work. And so basically, if any degree that you have, we probably have a role for you at the American Heart Association, as you can see from the vast array of where our internships can come from. So we have jobs that are live now. If you go to heart.jobs/interns, and Heather, maybe you can pop that link into the chat here. But if you go to heart.jobs/interns, or on Way Up where you registered for this session, we have our jobs listed there. And you can see all the jobs that we have right now posted for our summer session. The summer session will run from May 18th to August 21st. But we do more than just a summer session. We have internships year round. So we have summer, fall, and spring sessions, and you can see when those sessions are and when the jobs are expected to be posted for those roles. So if you already have a summer internship lined up, that's okay. Maybe you can join us in the fall. But go ahead and bookmark, heart.jobs/interns, and you can check that out later, or again, on the Way Up platform, and you can see the jobs and check them out and see what works best for you. But for the internship program, we offer part-time. All of the jobs are part-time, even during the summer. So they're anywhere from 20 to 25 hours a week. And we do pay $23 an hour. That's regardless of where you're located. So $23 an hour for all of our part-time positions. We offer both hybrid and fully remote internships. And you will be able to see if it is a remote internship right in the job title, or if it's hybrid, it will say that the job is listed. It'll say intern development community events, Phoenix, Arizona. And then that means you need to be located in Phoenix, Arizona for the job for the summer. So you'll be able to see that right in the job title before you even click in where the job is located or if it's fully remote. We also offer a lot of professional development, and I know that between Heather and our panelists that are coming up, they're going to give you a sense of what that professional development looks like and how it really supported them in their growth. But we're really proud of how well-rounded the internship is. Not only do you get the meaningful work experience with your manager, but we add a lot of professional development to help grow those power skills, as I like to call them, or soft skills that some people call them, so that you continue to be ready for that full-time role. We also offer a lot of networking opportunities, whether that's with other interns across the country, or we make connections to alumni that might be here from your university, as well as just helping you network in different departments or areas of the company that you might want to learn more about. And then we have something special called HeartU. HeartU is our learning and development platform, and it has over 100,000 resources that you can help to grow your skills. So you might be interested in improving in Excel. There's a class for that, or maybe you want to prepare for a project management certificate. You can do that on this platform. We also have a ton of leadership books, management books, all sorts of things that are free that you can read and have access to. So it's kind of a choose your own adventure when it comes to growing your skills and adding to your professional development. It's a really great resource that many interns like. And then Heather's going to talk to you in a little bit, but Heather is a certified career coach, and you have access to her to help with resumes, with LinkedIn, and to prepare for job interviews. So those are all the different components that we bring into the internship program. And because of the work that we've done in helping to build and grow this internship, we're honored to be one of Way Up's top 100 internship programs. And we've also earned the distinction of getting the Public Service Award this last year. So we've been named in the top 100 for the last 2 years. We've only had this program for 3.5, so we feel really proud to be having this distinction and be listed as one of the top 100 programs. But you don't need to take my word for it. I got a whole panel of folks here to help really share their experience and talk more about the program. And we're just going to take a minute to do some introductions. And I'd love to start, Heather, with you. if you can kick us off with the introductions.
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Heather Jackson. I am a recruiter and certified career coach with the American Heart Association. I've been with this organization for 3 years, and we're so excited to learn more about our future interns.
Wonderful. Allison.
Hey everybody, my name is Allison Simmons. I serve as a development director in Phoenix, Arizona. I started as an intern actually, and now have the pleasure of being an intern manager. So I'm super passionate about this program and really excited to share a little bit more information with all of you today.
Wonderful. Thanks. Mallory.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mallory Adams. I'm currently in Fort Worth, Texas, serving as a development coordinator here in the office. I started off as an intern as well, but super excited to be here with you guys today and share a little bit more about my journey and how I can help you.
Wonderful. Josie.
Hello, everyone. My name is Josie Bailey, and I am currently still in school at the University of Kentucky, but I am, oh gosh, in the middle of my sixth internship with here at AHA, and I'm excited to just talk about the different experiences I've had here.
And Connie.
Hi everyone, my name's Connie. I am currently a program evaluation intern based in Houston, Texas, but I work remote. I am coming with a background of MPH and epidemiology, and so I started my internship pretty much at the beginning of my master's program, and I just finished up. And I'm really excited to just share my story of how AHA has just been with me along my journey as a master's student in public health.
All right, so we're gonna dive right in here, and so Connie, maybe you can just kind of continue. I'd love for you to just share a little bit about your time, as an intern.
Yeah, of course. There's so many things to share, but I guess in terms of what I can share as someone who's working remote, so my entire role has been remote since the beginning. And so one thing I want to share is that even if you are remote, I would say that AHA does a really good job, and my program evaluation team did a really good job of helping me feel connected despite that physical distance. And that is something that you can also probably experience if you do join as an intern. And I think that's really just because everybody here has that core value of wanting to advance AHA's mission. And you can really feel that in the work that you do and the people that you work with. And if I were to share a practical step, once you are hired, I have been here coming up on my second year, and it's a mix of, where are you in the department and the availability. But I will say it never hurts to be proactive about your desire to grow and your commitment to continue working here and advancing that mission. And I will say that every time I was proactive and just voiced my desires, there was someone to follow up with me on that. So it was just a wonderful opportunity, and I'm really glad to be here.
So, Josie, what about you? Can you share a little bit about your time as an intern?
Yeah, I'd love to. So, like Kathy mentioned, there are opportunities for internships almost everywhere in this department, and I've gotten to see six different of those avenues. So, been in the community development and events and gotten to watch heart walks get put on and go Reds, which are really fun and are like very large scale events. I've gotten to work a little bit with advocacy and work in my state in Kentucky and meet with legislators and see a whole different avenue. I've worked in a couple different fundraising roles from innovative fundraising strategies, everything you see on our Facebook and Instagram and the online digital part of fundraising. And then I moved into corporate relations, which I got to see on the national side of things when we work with really big partners like Walgreens. And then now I'm in a role for CPR awareness and project management, which I help with our Nation of Lifesavers campaign, which is honestly engraved in so much of everything we do here at AHA. That stat that Kathy mentioned earlier about cutting down the rate is something we work closely on. But that's the cool thing too. Nation of Lifesavers didn't exist until about 3 years ago, and it's really exciting to see all the different internships that pop up through different new, exciting, advancing things that AHA is doing. But that's like a quick overview of all the ones I've had. But I really just want to harp on exactly what Kathy said. It doesn't just have to be health stuff. If you're interested in marketing, communications, there really is everything here.
Awesome. And Connie and Josie, you all have been here for a long time, right? Josie's getting ready to graduate here, and so we'll stop hopping from internship to internship. But Mallory, the story was different for you. You weren't here for all that time, right? You did a session, and then well, I don't want to steal your thunder. Tell me a little bit about your time as an intern and where you're at now.
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to. So like I said, I haven't been at the AHA for very long. I started with them here in Fort Worth, Texas, as a development and community events intern. So what that looked like for me was I was working on the Heart Walk team. So I was doing a lot of company outreach, making materials to send to companies and tell them about, what the Heart Walk is, doing a lot of CPR demonstrations at these companies as well. But what I really enjoyed about my internship experience was that it was very engaging. I think it was the perfect mix of like nonprofit and big corporate environment. So kind of got to learn a little bit about, how a nonprofit runs, but then also it's a really big company. So you kind of get that bigger corporate feel as well. I got to learn so much about many different departments. And like Josie said, like there is so many avenues, and she's been in a lot of internships. So whatever you're interested in, you let your director know, your peers know, and they'll direct you to a person to get connected with in a different department, which I thought was very, very great. And that led me to where I am now. I loved my internship so much that I decided to apply for an open role that I saw in my city. So I took that opportunity. I jumped on it, and I'm so glad to be here today. Yeah, I've loved everything, every part of it so far. So yeah, very happy to be here.
Awesome, great. Well, we're going to pivot a little bit, and Allison, you've had an interesting journey, like you said, starting as an intern, moving into a manager, and everybody on the call here wants to know how they can get hired. So you have a unique perspective on this. So I'd love to hear, what qualities and skills do managers look for? Do you look for as a manager when hiring interns? What should people be doing to stand out?
Yeah, absolutely. I love this question. It was something I was like really trying to consider. And so I think the word I finally landed on is their preparedness. I think when, we have like the video interview, that's really my first impression when I'm looking at candidates for our internship programs. And the next step is a one-on-one interview. Typically, they're virtual. And what I really look for is if that candidate really, I believe, took the time to prepare for that interview. What questions are they asking? Did they show up, earlier on time, straight on time to that interview? And really, I think that preparedness in that interview aspect really translate beautifully to a lot of what I look for as an intern, or having an intern here in Phoenix. I give my interns a lot of responsibility and a lot of independence to be able to like creatively, tackle the problems or the challenges or the tasks that I provide them. And so I think with that preparedness and that interview, thoughtful questions, really allowing your authentic self to shine through, and that creativity aspect as well is really something I think is what draws me to a candidate. And it's worked beautifully so far with the interns that I have managed so far here in Phoenix.
All right. That's great, that you mentioned that about the preparedness and that you want to hold your interns accountable. You expect a lot out of them. Heather and I really believe in the fact that the interns should grow. There should be progressively challenging tasks, and that those tasks should be meaningful, right? And so that means that we have to expect a lot. And so I agree with what you're saying there on the preparedness, and knowing that they're going to be doing really meaningful tasks is an important thing. And so, Heather, as a recruiter for the program, what do you see that managers overall are really looking for when hiring interns?
Yeah, in addition to all the things Allison shared, one of the strongest things to demonstrate is that you're coachable. So you're going to want to display that on your resume. How do you do that? Are you a student athlete? Have you joined any student organizations? Have you done anything outside of your university that really shows that you work together with the team? That is huge when people are considering whether or not they're going to hire you on as an intern. So we know most of you have something that you're doing. It's just being able to translate that onto the resume initially.
And so Josie, you've had to go through the interview process every time that you wanted an internship. You had to apply and re-interview with new managers and all of that. So would love to hear, what was the process like for you, and what do you feel like you did to stand out as a candidate for those?
Yeah. So the process looks the exact same every time. You hit apply, fill out all the information, and then from there, if you're selected, you get to do like a phone call. So a lot of the times mine was with Kathy, and it is more of a casual conversation, but you're addressing some of like the big overview questions, what you've done, going over resume stuff. And then from there, they'll see if you're a good fit to move on to a screen interview. So you'll see, I think Kathy's in it every time you've been in the video, but you answer a couple questions, a little bit more tailored to that specific field and why you want the internship. And you get to explain more of like a specific event that has happened that you've gotten to use X, Y, and Z skill. Kathy mentioned being coachable. I think that is one thing that has stuck with me every time I do one of those interviews is I make sure I do my research beforehand. I need to know what this company, this part of this part department is doing and what they've worked well in. A good example for my corporate relations internship, I went and I Googled what they're currently working on, what big companies have they been doing, what initiatives come out of these. So I was prepared, just like Allison said. And then after those interviews through the screen with the videos, you get to meet with the hiring manager. And this is a Zoom usually, or if you're in the area, sometimes I've gotten to go in person, but really just getting to talk about more in depth of what this internship looks like and what they're expecting. And that's where I feel like you really get to highlight um, what you are best at. So Allison mentioned that the hiring managers get to look at those videos. So that is very important that I'm able to be myself. I absolutely love talking. And one thing I've learned is when I get to meet with that hiring manager, I get to just ask all my questions. So tailoring it down to very specific questions to be able to get good answers. I didn't want to ask 10 questions, but I learned to narrow it down. And I think that's also what can make you stand out is really intentional questions, showing that you've done your research about this area. It just goes very far. But that is what it looks like from start to finish, from a phone call all the way to meeting the hiring manager.
Heather's gonna clean up some of the order of that, but yes, those are the 3 steps, and we're gonna go through and show you visually what that process looks like. But yes, awesome, Josie, way to go. And then Mallory, you did the interview there, and then I wonder if you could talk a little bit too about what you feel like you did to stand out to the manager, and then a little bit about what you feel like made you stand out as a possible full-time hire. So I'd love for you to talk about both of those things.
Yeah, sure. To help myself stand out, I kind of did 2 different things. One, I try to sell myself in the areas I didn't have much experience in. So if there's something on the description that you're like, like I don't think I know how to do that too well, or I haven't done that before, I kind of used other skills that I had to kind of supplement where I think I might be lacking. I mean, they want to see how well-rounded you are. It's more of a holistic view, which I really appreciated because I wasn't an expert in everything that the description, kind of told us. But it's just, I think it's really important to kind of sell yourself, even if you don't, have, those specific expertise. So that's one thing I really tried to do. And then also, I think it was really important to ask thoughtful questions, but out of genuine interest. Don't just ask the questions that you think, they want to hear. If you hear something that they say that you're curious about, follow up on that with the question and make a natural conversation out of it. So I think I did that well as also just ask questions and, make conversation out of genuine interest. I think that put me far as well. And I think doing those things also helped me in the role now. Interviewing for the development coordinator position, I was able to also kind of think back on my internship experience and what I got to learn there. And I kind of, just went over my time as an intern and the measurable, successes that I had and kind of just put that into my interview with the position I'm in now. So I think, those things all put together really helped me to get into this position that I am now as well.
Awesome. Wonderful. Connie, we're going to come to you to share a little bit about the professional development, right? So you've been here a while. I've had a lot of professional development opportunities that we've offered. And I'd love for you to just share a bit about what you've experienced here and what's been offered to you during your time as an intern.
Yeah, of course. So, in terms of professional development opportunities, I would say that there are multiple sessions that are scheduled across your internship, specifically for the Interns of Impact program. So, teaching you soft skills. So, just the other day, we had one on executive precedence and personal brand. So, how can you show up as your best personal self, professional self in the workplace? And then also resume workshops. But one thing that I do want to highlight, it does depend on which term you are working as an intern, but there are opportunities for group intern projects. And I would say that this is a hodgepodge of learning on the job and bringing all the professional development opportunities to the field. And um, it's honestly been one of my favorite experiences because you get to work with interns across the organization. It's a huge organization. So you're meeting people from different disciplines, different departments, and you come together and then you learn how to leverage each other's best assets and skill sets to create one product. And then you present that to the executives at AHA. And I think that's just a really valuable experience. And I know for me, it taught me about cross-functional collaboration and then project management, how to coordinate efforts across teams, how to communicate with one another, not just, if you're from different backgrounds, but also if you are from similar backgrounds, how can you work together to, create an even better result? So I would say that there are professional development sessions, but also these boot camp types of experiences where you get to really just learn on the job. And then an added benefit is that you get to network with interns and colleagues across the organization, and you never know, they might end up, staying with you along the journey. So I would say great opportunities and definitely a highlight of my experience here.
Wonderful. Josie, what about for you? What's some of the professional development that stood out?
Gosh, there is so many, and Connie got to hit on a lot of it. But one of my favorite things is we have like a networking guide. And so as an intern, we get to go out and write down 4 to 6 people we want to meet with on Zoom and get to know. And that has been so helpful for me. Someone I met with about an area I was interested in, I actually ended up getting an internship in that area. So we really get to go out of our way here to get to know people who we might not normally have the chance to. I would also say we get on meeting with a VP in our area, and that is awesome. I've been in internships before, and not many of them do get to actually sit in front of a vice president or someone higher up in the company and just learn their wisdom. That is the best part of it. You just really get to take in all of their best practices.
Awesome. Mallory, what about for you? What stood out?
Yeah, for me, I think we mentioned this before on one of the slides, the Heart U. I think that was the most vital piece for me. There's, like you said, thousands of resources on there. Just to name a few, like you learn different hard and soft skills. There's a lot of courses to take on communication, leadership, managing teams, technical skills, just literally anything that you can think of, it's on there. It's like a mini university right on your laptop, which is so great. There's also different certificates, official certificates you could learn, like project management and IT, just literally everything. One thing that I thought was really cool was the AI simulations that we have on there. So one of the ones that I took was trying to handle conflict, I think, with on there it said like a difficult manager or something like that. Like you can set the difficulty level, which was really cool. So they can be either passive aggressive with you or they can be, nicer. So I think that was a really cool resource to help with, your professionalism and, learning how to communicate well. And there was a lot of different simulations. So I think that was a very, very vital resource for me. So if you are an intern, I recommend that you take all the resources that you can from that and really spend time in Heart U because it was very helpful.
Awesome, thanks. So Allison, you have both perspectives now, right? So you went through the professional development. Now you're a manager of an intern, and so you're right empowering them to now do the professional development and grow. And you're early in your career yourself, right? So how do you see professional development as an important factor in early careers?
Oh my goodness, it's truly everything. I came on as an intern as I was finishing up my graduate degree, and I actually started in community impact, which is our community health side. And through, I think they mentioned the executive presence, professional development that we hosted using the AI, like we have Brain Shark that allows you to work on like your elevator pitches. All of those really gave me the confidence, and I actually kind of made the switch into development. So it gave me the confidence, the ability, the skills that I needed to be able to form the connections to be able to get my position that I have here as a development director. And then on top of that, development and fundraising is truly all about connections, truly knowing your own personal brand and being able to connect with others. And the professional development that I got in the Interns of Impact program have been absolutely vital in my success that I've had here as a development director over the last about year and a half. So truly, I can't emphasize enough that utilizing those resources that this intern program like so generously provides to you is something that will really help your success, not only in getting your career started, but also advancing in your career as you move forward as well.
Heather, as a career coach, I don't know, do you think professional development is important? Anything you would add?
I would
Obviously,
just
I'm being
say
a little
it's
sarcastic.
vital. Yeah, right. It's vital. Absolutely. Professional development is so needed. There's soft skills that you're going to learn when you have professional development through the American Heart Association. Again, going back to being coachable, being able to adapt quickly, just being able to navigate that scene of working within a department when you're only used to working with fellow college students. So professional development is absolutely vital for anybody in their early career.
Awesome. Thank you. You know, some days is not all rainbows and roses, right? Some days there are challenges, and so I think it's important that we talk about, if you experience a challenge during your internship. Both Allison and Heather have talked about being adaptable, about being coachable, and we all in our careers and in our day-to-day work face challenges. So I'll just kind of open it up. But Mallory, Josie, Connie, anything you want to share about a challenge maybe that you faced?
I can go first. Being remote for most of my internships, Connie mentioned this earlier, it's very different than just the normal college I've been at. I've been able to have face-to-face communications for other activities I've been involved in. So I really had to learn how to adapt and make sure I was on the same page as my manager. I would also say that I made a error in an email one time that was going to like 500 people and the link didn't work. And I had to decide in that moment, as someone who's pretty much a perfectionist, as I'm sure a lot of us are, we have high standards. And just to know that I could fail and fail with like a laugh. And my manager was able to be tell me even worse stories she's done. It was just really refreshing to know that the people at AHA are really kind and they want you to succeed. And when we do fail, because it's inevitable and it's going to happen, they had my back and were ready to show me what to do next time if that ever happened. It's laughable now. In the moment, I was dreading calling my manager to tell her I sent this email wrong. But I would just say like that is one thing I had to learn remote, but then failing. It's not something we all like doing, but we have to do it to grow. And so being here for almost 2 years, I really learned, honestly, the importance of failing and being able to learn from it.
Thank you for sharing that. Mallory or Connie, do you have a story you want to share? A challenge?
I have a story that I like to share. I guess I'll start with what I got out of it. So the two things that I got out of this challenge was leveraging your support network, whether it's in this internship or whether it's outside of the internship or together. And then number two, showing up in your skills as well. So for me, it was time management, project management skills. And so what the challenge was, I was for I guess two of the terms that I was working in, I was working also on my master's thesis, as I'm sure a lot of you guys will go through something similar. And that was when my schedule became very unpredictable. I just wasn't getting a lot of sleep. There really was no work-life balance, as we all like to assume for ourselves. And so there was a point where I felt like I was a little close to burnout. And also, wanting to show up at my best self in the work that I was doing. Because at the end of the day, HA and my team, they do ask that you know, bring your best, and they give you the responsibilities because they do trust you. And I really wanted to show up, and I really, really enjoyed the work that I was doing, right? So how can I show up in both ways? And so in that, earlier I said leveraging your support system. And so for me, it was my supervisor. I had to come to my supervisor and just be transparent. Hey, this is what I'm going through, and I want to show up with my best version, but how can I do that? And so, although I was a little bit, you know, apprehensive in the beginning because, you know, it's very real and it's a weakness that I had. But instead of being met with doubt, instead I was met with a lot of trust and flexibility. And so we worked together, and I learned how to be adaptive and how I can continue contributing with my best version while finishing my thesis, and you know, the commitments that I've had as a student as well. And I think that's the unique experience that you have as an internship, because the supervisors you meet will be committed not only to your internship, but your professional growth. And for me, that was my thesis in my master's program. And so it was really leveraging that network, but also learning and working with my supervisor. How can I have better time management? How can I reprioritize my workload and do things efficiently, right? So I think that was something that I really got out of that experience, and also having that manager to support me in taking ownership of my responsibilities was really, really important. And that's how I stayed grounded and delivered my best results as an intern. So challenges will definitely come, but I think you have the best network here to help support you through it.
That's awesome. That's great. Mallory, I wonder if you can talk a little bit about what is it about the culture of the American Heart Association that you learned about as an intern that made you, you know, want to stay with us for your career?
Yeah, for sure. First, I'll just start off by saying AHA has one of the best company cultures that I've ever been a part of. I will say that this is probably the best internship that I've had throughout my collegiate career. I'm graduated now, but during the time, yes, it was. I just really loved how willing everybody was to help you get on the career track that you want, even if you're not sure of, you know, what kind of way you want to go. There's always somebody that you can reach out to, and they'll get you in contact with somebody. They just really, really want to see you grow. Um, I kind of coined the term myself. They're really, or we're really a culture of service to one another, which I really, really love. Um, Also, I really appreciated how they understand that there is life outside of work as well. I think the association is the epitome of work-life balance. I've met so many people across the organization that have businesses outside of work and have other, you know, things that they have going on. And I love how AHA really supports and even encourages, you know, that balance outside of work as well, which, you know, a lot of companies, they think, you know, they want work to be your life, you know, but fortunately, the AHA is a great company that, you know, we never really get tired of work. So it's really, really fun here. But yeah, that's what I really, really enjoyed about the American Heart Association as an intern and why I'm still here today.
Awesome. And Heather, you know, I'd love you. You coach both interns, you coach our full-time staff, a lot of the early careers folks. You know, what would you add about the American Heart Association that makes our culture, you know, someplace that really supports interns and people moving into their early career?
Yeah, as an HR professional, I would definitely say the leadership skills. There's a lot of time and effort from the top down put into developing our current interns, developing our current staff, early talent, and helping that early talent grow into the leader that we know they'll become. And so I feel like that's definitely something that's, especially from an executive level, most organizations are not committed to do. But you see it from top down again, and it's just absolutely heartwarming. And also, as a person of color, being able to see other people that look like me in the executive positions. Sometimes, unfortunately, you don't experience that. So just having that opportunity to see people that I can relate to in leadership also makes this a really great place to be.
Awesome. Great. Well, we're going to wrap up the panel here. So I just want quick tips from everybody. Final quick advice on, what do you have advice for someone who wants to be an intern at the American Heart Association? What advice would you have for someone who wants to be an intern here? Connie, we'll start with you. Quick tip.
Quick tip, apply because it's worth it and it's a good investment. Number two, network. So that's something I did before getting into my internship. Go on LinkedIn and see who is in your network, whether it's your school or past workplace. There's a good chance because this organization is so big that they worked or have connections at the American Heart Association. So talk to them, hear about their experience, and let that inform your decision to apply or work at this internship.
All right, Josie, what's your quick tip?
Don't be afraid to be yourself. These people here are some of the kindest people I've met, and they want you for who you are. So just go out there and show them what you have to work with.
Awesome. Mallory, what about for you? Quick tip.
Yes. One thing I'll say is to remember that we're all human and the people that you work with are all human. It doesn't matter if they're in a higher position, ask them questions, pick their brains, challenge ideas. They want to hear what you have to offer, and they chose you if you're awarded the opportunity. So, we want you to be there. So be there fully.
Awesome. Allison, last one, quick tip.
I'd say be a self-starter and don't be afraid to share your ideas. We want to hear them. We want to hear you. We want to hear everything that you have to offer because you're here for a reason.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all so much. Appreciate your time, panel. We're going to have Heather stay on. And Heather, you got some tips and tricks for us here?
I do, absolutely. Can we move to, yeah, great, awesome. Okay, so I address a couple of the most commonly asked questions. How can I improve my chance of having my resume reviewed? The best way that you can do that is when you're putting together your resume, go over the responsibilities of the job that you're interested in. Look at what they're asking you to do or what you'll be doing if you receive that job, and then try to match it up to your resume. So even if you haven't had a lot of internships, or the experience you have isn't an exact match, that's okay. Just still making sure that you're putting all of those things on there of what you have to offer would be a really good way to improve your chances of having your resume reviewed. And the thing we hear also a lot is, how can I improve my chance of going from the video interview stage to the phone interview stage? And in a few minutes, I'm going to talk to you about each stage in the hiring process. But in order to go from that video interview stage to the phone interview stage, when you're going to be asked, why do you think I'm the best person for this job? So again, I reiterate, go and think about those responsibilities that you'll do if you are hired as that intern, and move that information into your answer in the interview. Talk about how you are able to do the job based on your previous experience, or maybe if you don't have experience, that's okay. Also, your passion. Do you have a person in your family, in your community that's been really benefited from information that the American Heart Association has shared out? Whatever your personal experience may be, that too really speaks to us and would improve your chances of going from the video interview stage to the phone interview stage. So now we're going to talk about the steps of what happens from application to being hired. So right now we have almost all of our internships posted on our website. We put that in the link as well for you all, but you're going to be able to review the internship opportunities that we have. We have some that are hybrid. That means you're going to work a little bit at home. You're going to work a little bit in the office. Some are fully remote. And so what's going to happen is, as you begin to apply for these different positions, the recruiter, myself, as well as Kathy, will be reviewing your resumes and looking for a fit to that role. And so for those that we feel really match based on their resume, really match that job, we will invite them to complete a video interview. So what that means is we'll send you an email, we'll give you a link where we ask you, I think it's three to four questions about yourself that will help us determine the fit, again, for that internship role. And again, for those that really match up well with the job that you're interested in, those will then get invited to do a phone interview. So that phone interview, we're going to talk a little bit more to you about why it is you're interested in this specific internship, some of the hard skills that you have, maybe pertaining to software, but also some of the skills that you have, again, that relate to the job that you weren't asked previously. And then at that point, those top three candidates who have made it through that phone interview stage will be able to have a virtual interview with the hiring manager. So there's three candidates. They will virtually meet with a hiring manager. That hiring manager will make their final selection based on the three people that they've were able to interview. And so wondering maybe how long does that take? So let's say that you apply today for an internship. These positions will be posted for the most part and through March 13th. And then we'll begin to get through those phone interview or video interviews and schedule those phone interviews. So all in all, by the middle of April, there's going to be a lot of hiring decisions made. So that gives you an idea of how long this process takes. And I'm going to answer a few more questions that we often hear. So again, that I just answered that, how long does it take from the time when I submitted my application to the hiring manager's intern selection? I got so excited, I forgot about this, but we talked about that time frame. Will I receive updates on the status of my application? Absolutely. As soon as you apply, you will get an email from us when we invite you to complete your video interview. We also will send you an email letting you know what's needed for that. We will then communicate to you after the phone interview stage who after those top three have met with the hiring manager. We'll then notify all candidates that they didn't make that final cut, or there'll be a job offer. So you will have communication all the way through. One of the things that we do note when you receive the video interview is a time that you might wait. So usually there's a couple of weeks that will happen between your video interview and then getting called to the phone interview. Don't worry, we're very interested in you. Don't feel that that length of time means you're not being considered. You 100% are being considered. Another question we get a lot is, can I still apply if I've already graduated? Absolutely. It's a tough market in the US right now. We will accept you up to 2 years post-grad. So that could be 2 years post-undergrad, 2 years post-grad school, but we absolutely will give you consideration if you've already graduated. Can I apply if I live in another country? So you could apply, but what we know is with our internships, you have to be in the United States. So these are summer internships we have posted. Maybe you have a trip planned with your friends or your family in another country. You would not be able to complete that work because you would not be able to work on anything outside of the US. So unfortunately, you'd have to be in the country. And then, do you provide sponsorships for international students? Unfortunately, at this time, we do not provide any sponsorships for international students. And I will turn this back over to Kathy.
Okay, great. Now is the moment that my dog decided to bark. And so I was just answering some of the Q&A in the chat here. And so I've gotten through quite a bit. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to share the slides after. However, WayUp is so wonderful that they are recording this, and in about a week, they have it available and up on our page there. So you will be able to go to WayUp and you'll be able to rewatch this if there were certain parts of it that you missed or slides that you want to review. You will be able to review it there. Let's see, where are the locations that offer in-person opportunities? So when you go to the site, if you go to heart.jobs/interns, and you'll be able to see the jobs there live. You'll see it either list remote, in which case it's a fully remote position, you just need to be within the US, or you will see the job with Akron, Ohio, or Phoenix, Arizona. That means that that is where the job is located and where the hybrid position will be listed. So you'll see it both in the title, and then anytime you click in, it will also be listed in the job description. Let's see. You can apply for more than one internship, but I would be selective. You only get to upload one resume. So if you're applying to everything from public health to communications to fundraising, but the resume that you're turning in is focused on public health, then you may not, we may not be able to see what it is from your communication background that would lead us to want to make you a strong candidate for the communication position. So if you're going to apply to multiple positions, be selective and make sure that your resume speaks to what it is that that position is looking for. So let's see. So we did that one. Do you recommend applying for multiple positions? So we just talked about that. Let's see. I'm living in Puerto Rico. Does that limit my chances? I mean, you're limited in the sense that the remote positions would be the best ones for you. I don't have a physical position in Puerto Rico. I have had in the past a couple of times, but I don't this time. So you would be limited just in the sense that the remote positions would be available to you. Let's see, from today until the official start date, how long is expected? And so Heather just talked a little bit about the timeline of getting hired. So I feel like we answered that one. Let's see, we have, does the application have to be in the field that you're studying only? No, as long as your experience shows us, that you would be capable of doing the job. There are suggested majors for each in the job description there of different majors that are preferred. But if you have experience that shows us why you would be, great at that role, then no, you're not limited to that. Let's see. If you don't see something listed in the city that you're at, then I don't have a position there for you. So, and if you don't see, we're only missing like 1 or 2 jobs. I'm not expecting anything in cybersecurity or IT at this time, or what we call business technology. We do not do relocation for internships. So that's why we're very clear about where the job is, so that we can kind of really focus in on folks from that area. If you do have family in the area or a way that you can be there, it would be important to note that in a cover letter or something, so that, again, we know you have a plan to get there. Let's see. So it looks like we've gotten to most of the questions that we have. So we won't be posting the fall internships until much later. That won't happen until June. So I will I know we had some folks join late. So let me share my screen again and just show you the timeline again, just in case people had some questions. And so again, right now our summer jobs are up, and that's what we're focused on hiring on. We will not be posting the fall jobs until in June, probably mid-June. And then you can see the dates of when our fall session is. And then you can see the timeline of what would be coming up in the spring. The positions do rotate every time. And so we get new requests from different departments, different locations. So there's different opportunities throughout the year that come available. And again, all of our internships are part-time. So everything is between 20 to 25 hours a week, and we are paying the $23 a month. And so that, I think that pretty much wraps up the questions for this time. So I really appreciate everybody's time for joining us here about our internship program. Thank you all for the questions. And most importantly, thank you to Heather and Allison and Connie and Josie and Mallory for joining on the panel and sharing all of their great insights, so that you all could get really a great insight into what our internship is like. So please go ahead and check out our page or the Way Up page for more details on our internships, as well as to apply to those positions. Everybody, thank you for attending and have a great day.